Hey, you know, we've always talked about how to get a recession-proof business, especially when we're looking at real estate. Tonight, we're going to discuss that. Welcome back to another Hump Day Real Estate with Kendall and the DMV. And I have a special guest tonight. Who do we have here?
Hi, everybody. It's Jalissa Matthews.
Mr. Lisa. Thanks so much for coming on. I've heard a lot of good things about you. I spoke with you a couple of times, and you have a wealth of knowledge. Uh, you do a couple different things, right? You do property management, housing assistance, and most of the things you do has recession-proof aspect to it. Am I correct?
Yes, it's extremely recession proof because people are always going to need somewhere to live.
Got you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Jalissa. I own a property management company as well as a couple different transitional living houses in the city. That's actually where I got started at, was with my transitional living properties. But I own a property management company. Majority of my properties that I manage are in Baltimore City, Baltimore County. I have some PG County, Howard County, different areas like that, Anne Arundel County. Um, I also invest in properties. So I buy properties, I fix them, I rehab them, and then we rent them out under property management.
One of the things that when I spoke with you last, that and you gave me a wealth of knowledge on this, Section 8. What is Section 8?
So Section 8 is a Section 8 is a housing program. And Section 8 is basically it's ran by the government. It's federally funded, but it's locally government ran. So sometimes you may see like, oh, the housing list is open for Baltimore City, the housing list is open for Anne Arundel County. So basically, if you're a participant in Section 8, then your name came up on the list and they deemed you eligible for housing based upon your income. And in order to be eligible for Section 8, you must meet certain income guidelines or be below poverty level. So what this mean for owners is that if you rent out your property, you could potentially get a Section 8 tenant and the government is paying you to house that family.
Got you. Now, with the Section 8, um, if I get a Section 8 tenant, I put them in there. Um, normally I want to get 5 or 10% increase in rent per year, etc. Can I get an increase from a program participant?
Yes. So you can absolutely request an increase when the lease is up. With, of course, you have to follow like, state guidelines as far as how much you can increase and different things like that. But yes, you can absolutely request an increase. It does not mean that the increase is going to be approved, but you can request one. I've seen them approved and I've seen them denied.
Gotcha. And so now I know from my experiences, I know some downsides of Section 8. Can you give me your experience?
The downsides of Section 8,
Mhm.
um, to me, it can kind of depending on the location, it can be a little slow with getting started. So let's say you show the house on Monday, you decide, okay, I like this tenant, I want to move forward. They receive Section 8. You have to do a document called an RFTA. So you fill this document out, you send it in. Now, once you send it in, that's when your clock starts. So speaking on Baltimore City in general, right now, I'm seeing on average about 2 weeks before they accept the RFTA and schedule you with an inspection. So depending on how much of a rush you're in, that could be a problem because you're looking at about 30 days before you actually move your person in. Whereas if you go with a traditional tenant, if y'all agree on the first, they can move in on the second. Whereas though with Section 8, they do have certain criteria you have to meet as the owner.
Now, is that after you find the tenant, or do you start that process just because you know that that's the programs that you want to work?
When you find a tenant, you don't get an inspection or submit an RFTA into the tenant. Each RFTA is it goes with the tenant. So it's one per tenant. So that RFTA, so if you Marcellus, if you're my If you're my tenant, your RFTA is yours. And then if George is my tenant, his RFTA is his. I have to submit one with each tenant that I would like to place.
Gotcha. Now, how do we know? I get tenants call me all the time. Hey, you accept vouchers, and most landlords want to know, well, how much is the voucher? How do you know exactly an idea of what that looks like?
So it's not really a set number. You do have a minimum and you do have a maximum, but once again, it's so many different things that play a part in it. Are you in an opportunity zone?
Okay.
Um, what amenities are you offering? What appliances are you offering? What utilities are you covering? What are you expecting for these, for your tenants to cover? Different things play a part. I've had a 3-bedroom receive 1750 a month. I had another 3-bedroom receive 2100 a month.
Gotcha.
So the
So
area, the amenities, the appliances, all of those things matter.
Gotcha. So I was recently trying to rent for a client property down in Upper Fells Point. Now, he initially had me listed for about, what did I say, about 28, I think it was 2,800. Would you consider that rent for a 3-bedroom, four baths? She actually has three full and a half bath there. Would you consider that rent probably would not work for Section 8? It needs to be a little lower from your experience?
From my experience, it would have to be a little lower. Um, Not really crazy. You would probably be looking more like in my professional opinion, this isn't facts, just in my professional opinion from what I've seen, I would say you'll probably be looking more so between 25 and 26.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I actually ended up consulting with a local property manager at the time, and he told me it was a little high. So I want to make sure, see if I ask you and see if you say the same thing. Um, what's the best way to screen a Section 8 tenant? Because
Like you would
folks.
do like you would do any tenant, because to be honest, I always tell my owners, you have to be really, really mindful when screening. I like to call them traditional tenants as opposed to your housing choice voucher program tenant. You want to be
Mhm.
very mindful because you don't want to violate anyone's rights. Right. So you would screen them and do an application on them just the same as you would do anyone else. The only thing I would say is that you would have to take into consideration is that where these people are on this program because they need help. So their credit may not be a 750. You understand what I'm saying? Or they may not make, it's unrealistic to want $2,000 a month and say you want somebody on a voucher to make 3 times the rent. If they made 3 times the rent, they wouldn't qualify for the voucher.
Gotcha. Mhm.
So that's what a lot of people mess up at. They want them to have the same income guidelines when you really can't. Because if they made that, they wouldn't get the voucher. You have to take that voucher income into consideration, because if the voucher is paying the full $2,000 a month of their rent, why do you need why do they need to make $6,000 a month?
Right. And we don't have now. I get this, and as a licensed agent, it's kind of tough a lot of times. But when they reach out and they say, "Oh, do you accept vouchers?" I I can't say no.
You cannot say no. It's against the law. Fair housing. You cannot say no. You say we consider
And
everyone.
yeah, and you have to put in the application. But a lot of times they get frustrated with me because I'm saying that they want me to say, "Yeah, we accept it." I can't say no to you. You do have to follow the procedure that everybody else
Right.
follows on that. Um,
I'm just very
so
mindful of my words when I speak with them, honestly. I just say, hey, do the application and I'm gonna process you like I do everyone else. And I am going to take into consideration the fact that, you don't make $100,000 a year, but you have a voucher which supplements that income.
Gotcha. Now, so I'm going to share my little cons, and this is from years ago. I think I might have shared a little bit of story with you at some point. Um, but I actually ended up purchasing property in West Baltimore with the Section 8 tenant in it.
Hmm.
And she was good. She paid. I think I closed it on the 15th of the month by the first. I went to the house, collected my 150 from her, and the check was in the mail from Section 8. That went good for about 8 months. Well, 8 months in, she told me, now, no, I'm gonna take it back. It went good for a little over a year. Um, when we had inspections and stuff, she would say, Marcellus, you don't have to come. And I'm like, okay, let me see what this is about. I don't go. And everything kept moving. I kept getting my money. But the problem I had was the moment she decided that she no longer wanted to be in my place, I get all kinds of, I get an inspection report with 35 items on it. And she was able to actually move out and leave a squatter in my house. Even after I went down to Section 8 office, talked to her worker and everything, he said, well, she already has a voucher. She's gone, this, that, and the third. I know, well, I think I know why that could happen, but why do you think that situation can play out like that?
So I'm not sure exactly. So first I want to lead by saying this as well. I actually used to work for housing authority.
Okay.
So one thing that I'm going to say is that a lot of times when things go wrong with Section 8 tenants, as the owner and the property managers, it's our fault for not doing our due diligence. Right. So with that being said, typically when you get this list of things that the house fell for, they give you a certain amount of time to fix it, and then they'll come out and re-inspect. Now,
Mm-hmm.
unless something that they came in there, they seen was a hazard, like a health hazard to her and the kids, and they needed to be gone immediately, they don't just move them right away because you had 30 things on the list. They'll send you something, it's 30 things on the list. You have X amount of days to fix it, replace it, or whatever it is you have to do. Now, once you don't respond to that list, or once you don't do it in a timely manner, then at that point, because federal laws and regulations say that this housing choice voucher program is responsible for this tenant and their children. So they're saying, okay, this owner isn't doing X, Y, and Z. We have to move them to somewhere safer.
Gotcha. But the thing was, so if you caught when I said first, when we had the inspections, she would tell me not to come and everything went through with no
As
problem.
the But
Now,
once again, as the owner, that's you not doing your due diligence,
I,
because
I
me as a property manager, I go to all my inspections.
I'm 100% with you there. So you got on point with where if I got to do it now, I know exactly what to do. But
Right.
my biggest con was the fact that she was able to do all of that and everything went smooth. And then the moment she decided she wanted to leave, now all of a sudden I got a laundry list of repairs that needed to be made. And before I could even get any of that stuff done, she had already got a voucher and went out the door. So
I would honestly have to see it, because since I've been doing it, anytime I've had a property fail, my tenant has never been able to just fail on Monday. They got a new voucher Wednesday out. They're out. They've never been able to do that. If I have a reason for something, that if something fails and I have it, I'm addressing it. By the time they come out for the new inspection, I done passed. And they should have been notifying you. The only thing I could say is if maybe something, the chain of command wasn't done correctly, and maybe you didn't respond in a timely manner, like you didn't get it on time to respond, then at that point they say, okay, we got to move her because the owner isn't, you know what I'm saying, responding or cooperating the way we need to. So then at that time, because we have to realize that it's always in their best interest to take care of their tenant. However, as a previous housing worker, we don't want to move people. We want them to stay in your unit, because once we take them out of your unit, now the pressure is on to move, because those vouchers, those RFTAs, they expire. So now the press is on to get this family housed. So they don't want to necessarily move them.
gotcha, gotcha. So go ahead.
No, and then just also too, I will say this, when I hear things like that, because I have some owners who, before honestly they went with my company, they Section 8 have such a bad stigma on it. And a lot of owners before they came with me, it's like, no, I don't want to do this. They tear your house up. They do this, they do that. And I always say, well, in order for all of this stuff to be wrong in your house, when was the last time you checked your house? When was the last time you, as the owner or the landlord or the property manager, when is the last time that you did an inspection on a unit? how were they able to have holes the size of bodies in the house? How did their 1-year-old turn the upstairs into Picasso? How was none of your filters changed? Why you didn't know the smoke detector work? If you're doing the due diligence, because me personally, I inspect all my properties. Every tenant I have, they go through quarterly inspections. Now, once they've been with me longer and I know how they live and I got a better feel for them, I may not. If you're on your second year, you may not get as many checks as you got on your first year. You may go from every 4 months to every 6. And I
So
also have right, and I also have an addendum to my lease where amendment to my lease where I say, okay, I'm gonna let you know 48 hours in advance before your inspection. So like this week, the people that I have scheduled to be inspected on Friday, I just told them today. Because if you're living absolutely trifling, if there's holes in that wall, if you're doing something you had no business doing, 48 hours is not enough time for you to correct that. So I'm gonna know.
mhm.
And while I'm doing that, when I do my inspections, I'm going with maintenance. I'm going with a maintenance man. He's checking the fire alarm while I'm in there. He's checking the carbon monoxide. He's changing the filters of the HVAC while I'm in there. So I don't have 30, I don't have a laundry list of 30 things.
And you're right where I was after I saw the exactly what everything I did wrong, and I was right there like where you are. I need to before the people move in. I need a photograph of everything. I need to know exactly what that looks like, and then quarterly I need to be back into that property and knowing exactly what's going on there, and
Right. It's about
never
doing your
again.
due diligence. But even if you have a traditional owner, because traditional tenants, I do have traditional tenants. Like I do.
Mhm,
I have regular tenants, right? I check
mhm,
them too. Because I go to eviction court with traditional tenants more than Section 8 tenants. I have traditional tenants that fail their inspections because I do my own inspections. I don't wait for Section 8 or because there's more programs. You got BRHP, you got different programs like New Futures, New Visions, House of Roof. You have so many programs that offer subsidy living, that offer vouchers. I don't wait for
mhm.
them to come out and do my inspections on my properties. I go and do it myself. If it's a problem, I want to nip it in the bud.
Right. Yeah, and that's where I wish I was at that time instead of listening to a tenant tell me everything's
Right.
going to be fine, and then got to the when she decided she was ready to leave, and it's like everything's not fine. There's a laundry list here. What the crap just happened? And
Right.
and then left a whole 500-pound squatter in my house.
Mhm.
It was just crazy. Um, and I was on your IG. Now, not too long ago, I just ran into, I was trying to help I saw you deal with some of the homeless programs as well.
Mhm. Yep.
How do those work for you? Because right now I'm having a problem. I got a guy that needs it's a family of 4, I think it is. He needs a three bedroom, 2 bath, 2 4 bath over in West Baltimore. But it seems like nobody wants to deal with that program.
So I'm not once again, a lot of programs just have bad stigmas on them right now. Me personally, I've built a rapport with a lot of these programs. So I have a lot of the workers that actually call me and say, "Hey, Jalissa, I got a family. We just pulled them in. We're going to pay their rent for the next 12 months," or some of them do 2 years, whatever, whatever. Do you have something available? And I'll place them that way.
So have you had any problems with any of them since you placed with the homeless people especially? I mean, just an idea for anybody
So
that's watching is that
I haven't per se placed a family off the streets, like directly pull them off the streets, but I have placed families that's facing homelessness or are currently home. So you're considered homeless anytime you don't have a dwelling of your own. So I don't necessarily but I have gotten families out of shelters, and things of that nature. And honestly, I haven't had any real problems out of them. A lot of times is they fell on hard times. People trying to recover, man. Stuff is just it's hard right now. It's tight right now.
yeah, and that's the only reason why I'm asking you about it. So if anybody, because there's been a lot of people that reject it, and the guy that has the family is a pretty good guy, and I just think that he should, if they got him work and all of that stuff, he should have get an opportunity to be able to get into a house and work his way back to take care of those kids. And he's taking care of the kids by himself. So I just think that at some point he calls me every week, man. Any way you can help me get out this shelter? And I feel for him. So I thought I would.
So when we get offline, let me know what shelter he in. We could talk about it. I don't want to talk about his business on here,
Okay.
but when we jump offline, we could talk about it. I may have some resources for him.
Gotcha. Okay. So are these programs good for the bird method?
Absolutely. So I told you I have properties. I I have properties that's mine's,
Mhm.
and I most definitely use the bird method to get my properties, and then the people that stay, the tenants that I place, they receive vouchers.
Gotcha. And for the folks that don't know, that's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat,
Yep.
and
And I
model
actually
that you can.
right, and I actually do the bird method myself. Yeah.
And so let me ask you. So I was watching another video, and the guy was saying something about doing the bird method, but also using a credit card to buy property. Have you ever heard anybody speak on stuff like that?
Yes, I actually have an uncle who does that. He's used the credit card to purchase properties outright.
Is that something
So
that?
I haven't done it. Majority of my
Okay.
properties I did the bird method. I paid cash. Let's just throw out a number. You pay cash, you get a property for 50,000. Um, Cash for it. Then you get a construction loan from like a hard money lender or something like that. And let's say they give you 90, but it really only costs you, and my y'all, these are just numbers. Let's say it costs you 70 to fix it. You're gonna refi out of it. Then based on the ARV, different things like that. Let's say that the house is worth 200 and something. You only have a mortgage on 90,000, which is what you borrowed from the construction loan, because you're gonna refi out of that. When you refi out, you get that lump sum for refi out. You pay that 90 back. You take that money you got left over. You're gonna have a good. It's really not even 90 you're paying back. You're paying 70 back, because depending on the lender you go through, I can only speak on who I've gone through. You don't pay interest on it until a year into your project. No good construction team is going to take a year to do your project. My projects don't take a year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm only paying 70, maybe 75 back. I got almost I got over 100K back. So now I'm gonna take that money I got. Like you said, now we're repeating. We're going to get another one. But in the meantime, I have a tenant in this house because I decided to go Section 8. My mortgage is only on 90,000, 70,000, because that's all I borrowed. I borrowed 90, I only used 70. So my mortgage is only on, that a month. So I got a $900,000 mortgage with taxes and all that other stuff. Let's say 1,100, but let's say Section 8 is paying me 1,700, 1,750. Anybody who's in this game knows that if you make over, if you profit $300 over your mortgage, you're doing good. This game is not about the amount you make a month, it's about how many houses you have. The more properties you have, the more money you make.
What equity you build?
Equity, now you got assets, you got collateral. If you got 10 houses, you know what the bank could give you with 10 houses? And you can get 10 houses by doing the Burr method, one at a time. Take your time, one at a time, one at a time.
Have you tried doing the DSCR loans that all the lenders are talking about yet? Or
I've only ever done hard money. Like I
gotcha,
get construction loans. I
gotcha.
only
Yeah,
get construction.
all the lenders now are talking about the DSCR. I believe one lender told me that you could refinance your investment property with these DSCR, but you same guidelines I think as the hard money. You gotta put the property in LLC,
Mhm.
and then also I think you need percentage of reserves and the tenant to be in place for them to do that refi for you.
And see, that's why I wouldn't want to go that way. I would want to go the other way because it's like, I ain't worried about what I got in the reserves. Like that's just my way of thinking. So I probably wouldn't go that way. And then it's like, if, for an example, like you said, they want you to have a tenant in the kitty already. If I
Mhm.
want to do a Section 8 tenant, I'm not gonna have one in the kitty because I know it's gonna take me 30 to 45 days to get them in there. So am I waiting 30 to 45 days to be able to produce to you that I have this tenant? Whereas though if we go the other route, I don't have to have that.
And you want your money out of there so that you can.
I want my money out of this, so I'm on to the next property.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything else you would like to share with the folks? You gave a wealth of knowledge on Section 8 alone.
I don't really know. I don't know. Don't count Section 8 out. Please don't count these government programs out, and for numerous reasons. One, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed monthly payments. It's recession proof. And two, these people need help. So it's like you're doing something good morally and you're making money off of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're providing somebody somewhere to stay, you know what I'm saying, and they're comfortable, they can live and without having to worry about rent, without having to worry about how they're gonna take care of their kids, and you're still getting your money. Do your due
And
diligence as a owner and a landlord and you won't have any problems.
I praise you for actually saying that, because the actual person that taught me years ago uh, probably was more about the money, but he didn't really like Section 8 because he felt like the government, it was in your business. Did you ever
No,
have that feeling?
I don't understand how they in your business. They don't ask you for nothing. They make sure you don't have no lead in your house. They want to make sure that the house is livable, and they want your direct deposit number. That's it.
I think he was concerned about the government already knowing how much money he had coming in every month. Maybe that might have been it. But
I
you know
mean,
how.
so they're going to give you, so you definitely have to get a 1099 because you have to file taxes on that money. But I don't really, if it's in an LLC, then I mean, I'm not really sure why you would feel that kind of way, because it's like, yeah, but it's still a write off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's conspiracy theories, but I'm not here to get into all of that. That's not my thing, but it does not bother me. And if you're really into the bird method or you're really into going forward, you want to look like you have money on paper.
Mhm.
I like for it to look like I have money on paper. Just throwing it out there. My property management company last year brought in over $17,000 a month. That's how I want my business to look on paper.
How long have you been doing the property management?
2 years. I just hit 2 years.
That's nice.
Yeah, I just
That's
hit two
nice
years.
too. Because so that means you have more than 20 units or something, right?
Under my
To
property management, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're doing it big. Gotcha. So if anybody needed you for more information or property management, etc., how can they reach you?
They can email me at a different way llc@gmail.com. Everything's spelled regular.
Got you. And another thing, do you have an assistant living up and running already? I thought I saw that out there as well.
So I have transitional living houses. Yes, they're already
Transitional.
up.
Okay.
Yep. And I think I may have one bed available. I'm full. I'm full. I'm completely full. However, I did just start a nonprofit that was accepted by the state. It's called Helping Her. And
Congratulations.
I'm going to be providing resources for women, for young women with children between the ages of 18 and 24. And I'm really excited about that because we're trying to, I'm trying to get some programs going so that we could provide them with housing and can pay their rent for 12 months and different things like that. And I'm also in the process of opening a mental health clinic. So stay tuned for that.
Appreciate you. Congratulations on
Thank you.
that. Love to hear all that amazing stuff that our folks are actually working on. Jalissa, again, it's been a minute since I talked to you. Appreciate you so much. I think you gave the folks a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you.
And thanks for taking the time out for us
Of course.
to share your information. Again, this is another Hump Day Real Estate with Kendall in the DMV, and we're signing off. We'll see you again next week. Thanks again, Jalissa.
I'm out. See you. Thank you.